I'm Dave Palumbo, founder of Speed. I'm Dave Palumbo, founder of Species Nutrition. From my earliest bodybuilding days, I believed in only putting the best in my body. And that lives on in the Species Nutrition line of products. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution.
You're funny.
Like I said, do you like my tail? Like I said.
Welcome back to another exciting episode of Iron Rage. I'm joined by Lee Priest as always, and we have special guest here, Ameen Alai, Guru Ameen Alai. We haven't had you on the show in a while. And you had a really good idea, so I wanted to get you here because I thought it was brilliant. Not many people do I feel is brilliant, but this was a brilliant idea. Tell Lee and I what your idea is. Sorry for my laryngitis too.
Okay, so let me give you a little bit of background about how I came to the idea. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Okay. So I noticed Dave Chappelle got like tremendous people were always talking about what he said about the trans community.
Right.
Okay. And I mean, this is the age of canceling.
Yeah.
Right. We're in the age of the canceling. I honestly feel that bodybuilding is potentially at risk to be a canceled sport because of the deaths and because of the steroids, and it's not quote unquote accepted. But here's the thing. Trans people use hormones to make the transition because in their mind, they feel they need to look or be a certain way. They're not what they should be. Okay. So if a female wants to make a transition to a male, there's no problem. They'll give that female testosterone at age 15, maybe even before that, if the parents consent to it. But if a boy or a man feels like he's not enough of a man, and if he takes steroids, it's not legal. Or if he feels that he needs to be in a bodybuilding body in order for him to feel who he really is, that like I identify myself as a bodybuilder, like a trans person would identify themselves as a different gender, okay, then why wouldn't steroids be able to be included for people who with that same mentality?
I agree. So you think they should be added to the classes of LBGT, whatever? There's 4,000 initials now.
Exactly. So what I was thinking, and I think, and John Romano inspired me for this. For watching you guys the other night, he used the word misfits. So we got LGBTQ.
What's Q? By the way, what's Q?
Q is queer.
Is it? Oh.
Yeah, queer and gay are two different things.
You're questioning your identity.
Maybe it's questioning, maybe it's queer. Which, by the way,
you're going to be canceled for that one. I mean,
right. So what I was thinking was we had another category called M for misfits.
Okay.
And misfits would include body dysmorphia, self-image, tattoos, piercings. I mean, I don't want to use the word freak because I think that's kind of like maybe not the right word to use. Right. But anybody would be considered in the other or feel that they would be discriminated against. Head to toe tattoos, big piercings, things like that. And bodybuilders, because it's a self-image thing, right?
So in other words, if Lee Priest went for a job at McDonald's when he had the face tattoo on, and he's got 23-inch arms, he cannot be discriminated against because that's the way he feels that he is the most comfortable with his physique.
Absolutely. 100%. And this is the exact phrase that all the alphabet group is using. It's the same thing. They don't feel comfortable the way they were born, and their mind tells them they should be something else. Well, it's the same thing with bodybuilders. We don't feel comfortable unless we look a certain way.
Right.
And it's no difference than
and we're being discriminated against, you're saying. You're right.
We're totally being discriminated against. And what we need to do is we need to get the ultimate power. And the ultimate power is joining the alphabet group.
Yeah. What do you think, Lee?
If you could.
I think it's a good idea, but I think, after seeing with the internet lately, how bodybuilders are, we're big, muscular men, but yet I think that men should be able to take steroids because most of the bodybuilders act like women, so they need tests to get their fucking balls back. Because you say one thing about them online and they fucking start crying and carrying on. They go, oh, I can't believe you said I shouldn't have placed 5th or 6th or something. So there's a good case that men, bodybuilding men, need more male hormones because they act like a pack of women. Now, the women will get mad saying we don't act that pathetic, which is true. The women actually act more manly than the men. So, but I think it should because, even we're discriminated against by the way we look. And as you said, add a few tattoos to that. Trust me. How many random stops do I get at airports because you look like a drug dealer or you got tattoos? You must be a bikie. It's like, it's crazy.
Well, not only that, Lee, but you got it removed and then you're getting another one on there. So it's like this is the way. No, but seriously, this is the way you identify yourself. And you should not be. Nobody should discriminate against you any different than they would discriminate against anybody else in the alphabet group. By the way, obesity should also be in there too because there is a group of people that they actually are happy being obese. You know what I mean? And it's like a fetish type thing where, so all I'm saying. So they should also be included in the misfit group.
That's interesting, and if that was the case and we did get alphabetized, as you're suggesting, that would mean that, steroids would be able to be legally prescribed by doctors because
bingo,
right? If you want to get a DECA prescription, Anavar, because you need it, right? To
anything you want to make you look the way you feel you should look, which is what they do for them. So we want the same rules. We want to go by the same rules they have.
Right.
Okay. Because if the doctor tells the woman they need more testosterone or they need letro, whatever they need, they give it to that woman so that woman can transition into a male. Well, it's the same thing with us. The only thing is, and this is what brings bodybuilding to the forefront, right? So then, unfortunately, we already know bodybuilding is never going to be mainstream. But in order to get it at least so that the people in there aren't committing a crime just by competing, by possessing the steroids, that should never be a crime for us. Right. I mean, and when you put it all into perspective, it gives us basically a pass to be who we want to be, same as they do.
Right. By the way, I want to introduce Mike Avalon to the show. Thanks for calling in. Mike used to live with Lee. We're going to talk about some old time stories. Mike, turn your phone sideways so we got you the wide way.
What do I do?
Can you turn your phone sideways?
Turn it sideways because you're so big. You got to turn it sideways.
You got to take off the orientation lock though on the phone.
How do you do that? Wait, hold on a second.
Oh, you
Swipe
silly
down for your
bodybuilders,
iPhone.
I tell you.
Oh, and you know what? Nerds may also be able to fit into the group too, Dave.
Who?
Nerds.
How do they fit in?
Nerds are in.
I mean, nerds nerds are in, that's true. But in the past, they were discriminated against. So if they felt like they wanted to be a part of that misfit group because listen, if you're normal, no one calls you an added name. You're just Dave, you're not. Yeah. So.
No, but I like the idea because Mike, just if you, on your iPhone, if you swipe down from the top, you can take the orientation lock off.
You see a little lock.
No, but I like the idea because, I think that it's, look, if you sell drugs, that's a different story illegally. But if you're using drugs because you want to look a certain way, that should be your own option. And you know what? You should be able to go to a doctor and get a prescription. There's plenty of American drugs that you can be legally prescribed: testosterone, DECA, Anavar, some Winchell tabs. There's growth hormone.
Well, Dave, we can actually take it even further. You can import a 3-month supply if your doctor deems it's okay of any drug that could be life-saving. Well, if these people are on the brink of suicide because they don't look the way that they feel they should look, and that suicide is very, very high in the transgender community. So just drawing a parallel to that, if they say that they need this because they're not who they should be, then that also leaves the door open to be able to import 3 months worth of drugs from another country.
So we basically need Roger Stone to help us. We need a lobby. We need to join the transgender lobby to have them help us to push through this legislation to add us to the initials, is what you're saying.
And they will, because they're not. They don't discriminate.
Right.
Because they're going to look at. You break it down and say, when you look at a 400-pound person, everybody scoffs. Everybody says that's disgusting. This person's obese, and they ridicule them. And to be quite honest, when you look at a bodybuilder, everybody says that person's on steroids. I mean, it's right away. Now let's look at the parallel also. If a trans person dies, okay, and they have testosterone in their system, they never say they died from steroids.
Right,
Never.
Right,
okay.
Exactly, yeah.
But if a bodybuilder dies and there happens to be steroids in him, the death of cause was, steroids had something to do with it.
Yes.
So it's not really being played out fair, and we're being discriminated against. We're being discriminated against because we have body image, and the same as they do. It's no different. It actually is quite similar to what transgender feel. It's not sexual for us.
And there's actually a competition that you could actually enter. So there's like it serves two purposes: looking and feeling like you want to feel and look, and then you could actually be judged by it at a competition. So there's actually two aspects to it.
The best part of it is, Dave, is that if you're getting it from a doctor, the doctor's going to monitor your health,
right?
And then we won't have any deaths,
right?
So I mean, they don't want to see suicides and deaths in the trans community. You don't want to see deaths in the bodybuilding community. When the deaths start, that means we need to get added to the alphabet group.
Lee, why do you think that that this hasn't been done yet? I mean, you think because people think we're just like too vain? It has nothing to do with I
think so.
Identity.
I think so because people, I think for years bodybuilding's always been sort of, people that go to the gym, their egos, they look in the mirror, take steroids and flex and look at themselves in the mirror. And I remember getting ready for shows. The mirror's there, but I never once looked in the mirror to look at myself and go, "Oh, I look great." I used it as a tool when I was younger to see the muscles working. But then after that, it got to the point where, yes, there's a mirror there. You're training. You can see your reflection, but you're not really looking at it. It's just like you're looking at nothing, as if you're just staring at a TV. So, but I think the general public has that conception that we're all conceited. We walk around with egos because, generally, if you see someone that's really into training and they into fitness and that, whether it be a bodybuilder, someone in generally we walk around. We don't have egos. We're just happy-go-lucky. Yeah. But it only takes, like in any profession, it only takes that one or two where I've been walking through a shopping center and I see the guy coming through, the back flared out, and I'm like, oh, fucking hell. And everyone looks at that guy, so we all get clumped in with that person. Typical bodybuilder, look at him, arms flared out. So,
you see what you said, though, Lee? I mean, you just said it yourself. I mean, people look at bodybuilders and they're like, look at that body, look at that body. Like, same as you would say, look at that, obese person. I don't want to use the word fat, but obese, or look at that guy, he's got tattoos all over his face. Why would you do that? Yeah. So but when you say that about someone inside, you're discriminating against. And I think that's the real reason. Fat shaming, muscle shaming too.
I told the story that time I went to the beach down Marina Del Rey, and I went to the very far end because I didn't want to be looked at. I was in contest shape.
Right.
Went down to the far end, sunbaked. I thought, it's a hot day. I'm going to walk back to the car without my shirt on. And as I walked past the park bench, and there were two obese women sitting on that park bench. And as I walked past, they just went, "That's fucking disgusting." And normally I don't say anything, but I backed up and I just said, "Look at you two fucking fat cows. You're one to talk." And then I just walked off because, it's like they get even people who are obese. Yeah, even people who were obese were calling me disgusting. You get a lot of time that that's too much. That muscle looks terrible.
Actually, according to Ameen, we'd all be in the same category. We really wouldn't be able to make fun of fat people anymore.
And not only that, though, but you look at somebody and the general population. The general population eats fast food. The general population, I would say, the majority of the general population does not work out. It's not a priority to them. They usually take it into consideration when they have health issues, right? Yeah. So when the two obese people are looking at Lee and they're used to eating fried chicken and fast food and stuff like that, and they're thinking he eats this bland food and he wants to look like that, but it's the same thing. They eat that food and they want to look like that and they're comfortable looking like that. So it's really the same thing.
And then I always found it funny too, where I would see it sometimes where, yes, we go to the gym, we train to look a certain way. If you're not abusing it, you're using it correctly. Steroids, yes, we put some chemicals into our body. But I laugh so many times when I see that some people complain about how disgusting we look, and it'll be coming from a girl that has implants, her lips done, cheek fillers, her tattooed eyebrows, Botox. I'm thinking, you'll put every chemical and like fake substance into your body, and you're talking about me because they take a little bit of steroids. It's like, isn't that the pot calling the kettle black there? Like, fucking hell. It's like,
This is why we're being discriminated against.
Yeah.
I mean, again, listen, anybody who's going through a transition test positive for testosterone, they don't even mention it. But if you work out, forget competing in bodybuilding. If you just have muscles and you show up positive for testosterone, he was abusing steroids.
Right, right, of course. Hey, Mike.
It's just ridiculous.
Mike, back in the day when you lived with Lee out in Venice, when you guys would like walk around, would like people just like lose their mind over Lee? I know you wore like a million jackets, so no one even know what you looked like.
I had to wear a million jackets because this guy's going around.
You know what, Mike? Just turn your phone back because you couldn't figure it out. You're sideways. Just leave it like that.
I couldn't figure it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay. Just leave it.
Well, I wore 5 jackets because this guy's walking around like the biggest freak in the world and insecure. We're like the same height. He's like 260. I'm, whatever I am, and makes me it's insecurity. Yeah, people look at him like he's a freak because he is a freak.
Yeah.
Puts him in a different category.
Mike can clear this up right now, though, because Mike lived with me for, I'd say, almost 12 months, and Mike was with me when I got ready for the Night of Champions. So me not saying anything, Mike could actually tell you what I used and probably the amounts, and I'd hate to disappoint people. It's not what they think.
What did he use, Mike?
Can I tell you?
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
I think he was using like a CC of Winstrol every other day, and maybe like maybe 400 milligrams of test a week.
No GH?
No GH.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Maybe I'm not sure if you were using clenbuterol or not, but
I think I did. I think I had the tabs then, just those whatever.
That's it. I mean,
tabs.
really. I mean, I gave the shots.
Did you like? Were you like? I can't believe this guy looks like this. Doing this. You must have been. Yeah.
It's depressing because, like, back like 20, 30 years ago, I don't think you thought about like genetics as much.
Yeah.
Like, why am I doing the same thing this guy's doing and not getting the results?
Right.
It's
funny because you were a bantamweight and you worked your way up to like heavyweight, or light heavyweight. And I mean, you eventually had a lot of muscle. It just took you a long time to do it. I mean, but it had to be frustrating living with this guy. I mean, because you see him like eating like, crap, and he's just putting muscle on like he's, his true genetic freaky self,
I know exactly how you feel, Mike. I know exactly how you feel because I was that guy that was coaching. I was a lightweight. I was bullied. I was really small, and I got bigger, and then I started helping all these other guys like Kamali and my brother, and Don and Craig and except for Craig, because Craig was a drug abuser. But and I'm just that's just he just liked to take 3 times that everybody else did. He didn't care about his liver. But everybody else was what I would put them on a protocol, and it would start off being the same protocol as me, and they would all respond better. So then, of course, naturally, I thought maybe I should up my dose so I could compete with them, and that's not what happens. I up the dose, side effects. It doesn't work like that. So some people, as you know, hyper responders.
There's a freak. You're a pro bodybuilder where you are for a reason, not because you take a ton of shits. Because you have, you obviously you train hard, you eat well, you're intense and this kind of thing. But genetically, I mean, Lee's insane. Ronnie Coleman, I worked backstage at the '91 Olympia. Ronnie Coleman was. I don't even think he won the universe then. Ronnie Coleman was working backstage. He was wearing this like white button-down tight shirt. The guy was the biggest thing I've ever seen.
And he was natural.
He was natural.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, a lot of people say, these guys take so much stuff. No, these guys don't take a lot of stuff because they're fucking freaks.
Yeah.
Natural or unnatural should only matter in the Olympics or tested sports. It shouldn't. That's another stigma. It's again, you don't look at the transgender person and say, oh, they're on testosterone or they're on roid. Nobody does that. No one. We have to accept it
because they'll cancel you if you say anything about it. That's why.
That's a good point, though. That good point that you made before, as far as like trans people want to look a certain way. People want to look a certain way. You got to do certain things to look a certain way. I'm a bodybuilder. That's how I identify myself. Like you said, I want to look a certain.
It's up here. I mean, if a trans person feels that much in their mind that they need to cut off their genitals and, you know, convert it into another genital, take hormones, get breast implants, and do all that, then why can't it be acceptable that in our mentality, we only feel the way we feel as ourselves as if we're on these hormones that make us look this way?
They need to vilify. They need to vilify.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it doesn't. There's no equivocation. You know, these persons, and you know, bodybuilders. You know, I'm sorry to equate. Maybe it doesn't equate, but we have the same mental stuff going on in our head, like even stronger, like the insecurities and things like that make us really want to look a certain way. You know. So we take stuff. I mean,
right.
You know,
but no one says, hey, you know what? This guy who wants to be a woman, let's put him in psychological counseling because he's got a problem.
Or in jail. Or in jail for possessing the stuff.
Right.
You know, I mean, that's crazy.
They say for them, it's like just naturally it's who they are. But if we do it, well, you've got bigorexia, you've got this, you've got that.
But okay, like but let's accept that, Lee. We have bigorexia.
Right.
Okay. That's fine. Who cares? That's our mental issue. We need to have it. They think they need to be another gender. That's their mental issue. They need to have it.
That's a good point. That's definitely a good point.
And Mike, you're in the city. You see probably a million transgenders in the city all the time.
Yeah.
I see them here in Colorado too. There are a lot in Colorado. Yeah. The number one place for the surgeries is in Trinidad, Colorado.
Oh, really?
That's where everybody comes to. Yeah, that's where everybody comes to do the transgender.
I think. I mean.
In the world, by the way.
I mean, the transgender, some of them are really pretty. You can't even tell. I mean, they actually look better.
And this is the lady boys in Thailand, their facial structures almost look like women.
Those ones in Thailand, they have a whole, like a beauty universe pageant. And I mean, like, you can't even tell. I remember my first time in West Hollywood, we're going down the street. And this is years ago when they weren't as pretty because now they become more advanced. And I remember going down West Hollywood with Kurt. I was with Kurt Miller in the car. We're driving down the road, and I'm sitting there going, "Look at her! I'd fuck her. Look at her." Yeah. And Kurt's like, "Lee," he goes, "Lee, they're the men. The women are over there." And I was like, these men were twice as pretty as the women. The women over here look haggard and rough and stuff, and the men look like they were gorgeous.
That's funny.
And that was years ago.
You know, when men are narcissistic, I think we outdo the women.
Yeah. Mike, let me ask you a question. How did you meet Lee? How do you wind up living with Lee Priest? Like, how does that happen?
Well, so I was working behind the desk at Gold's, and he walked in one day, and you know, I guess we became friends because I think we had in common that we had sex with the same woman.
Oh, really?
Girl.
Who was that?
What's her name, Lee?
I remember she had dark hair. I can't remember her name.
Tasha.
No, that's it. Yeah, Tasha. Yeah, she was from Canada, wasn't she? Canada.
Yeah. Me and Lee weren't the only ones she had sex with.
Who was first?
No. We were notches on her. I think we had notches on her belt that one. By the time we found out, she'd been through the whole gym.
Lee, who went first? You or Mike?
I think Mike was with her before me, weren't you?
You were.
Was I?
I was with her at Ed Connor's house.
Oh, that's funny.
Yes, Ed didn't like when you brought the women home there.
Yeah, he didn't.
No.
Sorry,
but
Ed.
I'm telling tell Dave some of it. Mike was rattling off some stories to me last week when we quickly spoke, and I forgot about so many, but there was times from desperate times called for desperate measures.
I had gotten fired from Gold's Gym. Good move because you know Darren Lanahan.
Yeah.
He did not like me. I think I was from New York. I was from New York. I got a job right away at the gym, so I didn't pay my stuff like that. And, you know, I guess I was a harsh New Yorker, and I got up like 3 times, like once for, of course, wearing like a denim jacket.
Oh no.
Oddly enough, another time it was like I was $8 over or under or something like that, so I would have put it back if I stole it.
Yeah, right.
And then another time something else happened, like so he was really happy to fire me. So I was doing well before that, and I got fired. So then I was down on my luck, and Lee was nice enough to take me in. And Lee had a contract with Weeder at that time. I think it was probably like $30,000 a year, so like what, 3,000 maybe?
Yeah, 36, yeah, something like that. Yeah, my first one, yeah.
Yeah, so basically he get his check and spend all the money in the first week.
Oh no. What would you spend your money on, Lee?
No,
I don't know.
It's just like rent and food and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we were at the firehouse. Actually, we had to take the bus to the gym too at some point. Yeah.
Didn't have a car then. Didn't have a car on the bus.
Yep.
I used to make jokes about it saying, do you think this is how other professional athletes get there?
They'll probably do cardio getting to the gym.
Those blue buses are so bad. I mean, and then so we were at the firehouse one time. I'm not proud of this story. We were at the firehouse, and we sat down, and there was like I guess there was a tip on the table, and we were low on income.
Oh,
so,
no. You stole the tip?
Oh.
Yeah. Yep.
Hey.
How much was the
We
tip?
need it.
What?
How much
It
was
was
the
like
tip?
$5.
How much?
Probably like $5-6.
Oh, you guys were that desperate, huh? Holy mackerel.
Hey, it's enough to get you some enough to get you some ground beef in that.
We were living off a Weeder protein.
So, Lee, you were basically supporting you and Mike on your Weeder
Yeah.
check. That's pretty nice.
Yeah. Yeah. And then occasionally if we hit the big time, we'd go down to Sparky's Yogurt and get a Sparky's yogurt.
Wow.
Okay. Dave, you remember Sparky's?
Yeah, that's that place was good. I can't believe, Lee, you were that down on money, though.
Oh yeah, because when you first get, I was living in a house on Rose, just down near the golf course, which wasn't too much money, but I think, but if you're only getting $3,000 a month at the time, by the time you pay your rent and, as Mike said, pay your food and you have other bills, it wasn't $3,000 doesn't go too far.
Yeah.
At the end of the month, or whatever.
What year was this, Lee?
That was
that
93.
Yeah,
93.
yeah, early.
Wow.
And then
93. Did you ever
Mike
live with Aaron Baker?
Huh?
Lee, did you ever live with Aaron Baker?
No, I never lived with him, no, but I was good friends with him.
Okay.
Yeah, but Mike stayed with me too when I was getting ready, because you filmed that when I was flexing the arm at the table. That was when I just met Kathy too under her house. It was like around 2000 for the Night of Champions. Mike was with me.
I'll tell you how I met Kat. So I remember we were sitting watching TV or something, or playing on. Lee was big into the internet back then, boards back then.
Okay.
I don't know if he's like that now.
He still is. Was he getting kicked off them back then too?
I know. Yes. So he had seen pictures of Kathy in Muscle and Fitness,
Right.
and he was attracted to her and stuff like that.
Right.
And I'm like, I said, why don't you just email her?
Yeah.
So he emailed her. Meanwhile, he had he was living with somebody else, but he emailed her, and I guess she was she was coming to visit. Remember Steve Wennerstrom?
Yeah, of course.
Yep.
Yeah, Mr. Women's Physique World.
She went to visit Steve in San Diego, and then she invited him down. So we went down to San Diego for the day,
Right.
And then she never went back. She came up to Venice.
Oh, no way.
They got married like a month later in Vegas, and I filmed the wedding.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Hold on. So what happened to the girl you were living with, Lee?
I think she moved out. Was that me?
No, it was what was it? She's the one who lives in Brooklyn.
Oh, the one that the old pick couple used to train at World Gym.
Yeah, the one she had dark hair.
Hold on. So you come back. You come back from San Diego with Kathy. Like, what do you tell the other girl? Like, she's moving in.
The other girl was gone by then, I think.
Yeah, because due to email correspondence, she was sort of on the way out.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Erica, that was the name. Erica was the name. Erica.
Saw the wedding pictures. They look nice. Y'all look good together.
And the thing was too, when we got with Kathy too, she spoke very, very little English. Because she was French Canadian, we couldn't really even understand each other.
Was that when she had those short white hair?
Yeah.
Okay,
we almost looked like brother and sister.
I was gonna say you probably did. Yeah. That's funny.
Kathy had a short blonde hair like mine, because she always used to say, people say I look like the female version of you. It's like, no wonder I love making love to her.
Means somebody looks exactly like you.
Yeah. No, what other
that means he thinks he looks that good.
Yeah. Now, Mike, when you hang out with Lee Priest, do you get like his do you get like girls by just because they're there already? Do you get his?
No. I was wearing too many jackets.
Oh no.
Still insecure even though you were that big?
What's that?
You're still insecure even though you were that big?
I wasn't that. I mean,
he wasn't that big back then.
I wasn't back then. I was just coming off winning the bantamweights at the.
But here you go, right? Had you been the size you wanted to be, you wouldn't have worn those jackets, which shows that it's a mental thing.
Of course,
absolutely.
Haven't you seen
100%.
Mike's
That's why I wore the
Instagram? Mike's Instagram now, he's never got a fucking shirt on. Jesus.
Now you're always doing
Exactly.
Yeah.
He finally is comfortable with who he is in his own body.
That's right.
By the way, guys, what do you think is the right letter? M for misfits or F for freaks? I don't think the freaks.
How about BB for just bodybuilding?
Well, I thought BB, but then that eliminates everybody else, which might not make us as strong.
Well, let them get their own category. Why do we need to help everyone else? Let's have our own. I want my own letters. I don't want to be lumped with the fat people.
So that it's yeah, fine. Then BB could be their own, and O could be one. O could be one for obese, right? You know, and they could come up with other ones for the beer.
I think they call themselves BBWs, right? Big beautiful women.
OBI.
What's OBI?
I'm sorry. OBMI, over your BMI.
or body dysmorphia image.
Hey, look,
BD,
we got enough
BDI.
trouble getting our own letters approved. We don't need to try to get everyone else approved too. Let's get BB approved first.
Well, we deserve it on these lines. We shouldn't be discriminated against. I mean, even when you go to get a job, if they look at you and they think you're really big, they're not going to hire you. They're going to hire the other guy because they think you're on steroids and they're discriminating.
Right.
But you have no idea. I train people, and they, like, people who have been in the gym for years, they'll look at somebody and go, "That guy's huge." I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like, people still don't have. A lot of people still don't understand what big is. It's like that's huge at all. Like at all.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, you're 40 pounds heavier than him.
Yeah. They don't know. They don't understand.
What was that? I know Mike had a story he told me. I can't remember what it was now. Something about in the gym. Oh, in the training one where it was Paula Crane almost did my shoulder in doing a photo shoot. That was a funny day. That one on the
Real World.
Preston.
So in 2000, when I came to train with him for the Night Champions, of course, he wouldn't let us go to Gold's Gym, the fun place. We had to go to freaking World Gym 5:30 in the morning with all the geriatrics, no music.
Joe Gold.
No Gold. I'm like, can we go to Gold and see some girls or something? He's like, no.
No,
like
because he was very loyal to Joe Gold. That's why he went to the World, you know.
Yeah. Joe used to call him Butterball. Yeah, there was everybody. There's every old timer, like every old wrestler, every old bodybuilder.
Really?
Remember that guy Billy Smith that just died? The guy was in Any Which Way You Can.
Blonde guy?
Oh, Will Smith.
No.
Will Smith.
Yeah.
Big Bill Smith. Yeah.
He was there 20 years ago. Me and Lee didn't think he had another 2 months to live.
Oh, really? He was that bad.
Wow.
Lee,
Well, he'd come in in the morning and he'd come over and go, "How you going, Lee? Feel the arm, Lee." But his breath, I mean, the alcohol would just burn your.
Oh, he was an
eyebrow.
alcoholic. Wow.
Wow.
He was
A nice guy, nicest guy though, friendly, nice.
very
guy.
nice. But it was like, what happened to you? Jesus. It's 20 years earlier. You look good, and now you just can't even talk. And
Was Arnold coming in at that time?
Yeah.
I didn't see him. I saw Arnold. I only met Arnold once. Remember when Arnold was doing that promotion for the Oscars when he was driving the Harley around
Yeah.
He was friendly to Lee because Lee did his book,
What did Lee do in the book?
the
That's
encyclopedia.
when I did those
encyclopedia.
photos for him. I talked about when I did the photos, and the funniest time doing those photos was because, I'd interact with him a bit, but I remember to this day, I was on the preacher curl, and as I'm leaning over doing the preacher curl, I started sweating. So Arnold, I forget who was for doing the photos, he goes, stop, and Arnold comes over with the towel. He's like, "Come here, Lee," and he wipes the sweat. Carry on. I go back. I start doing it. Stop. He comes over, gets the oil like Joe Weider used to do.
Oh, really?
And he put oil on my arms. And I thought, this is pretty cool. So I said to the photographer, I said, "Listen, I don't give a fuck about the preacher curl shots." I said, when Arnold wipes my sweat off and puts oil on me, I said, "Get me photos of that so I can say, look at Arnold, my little bitch. Look at him, wiping my oil off."
We did back in '93. We did Lee did a photo shoot with Weider, so we went to someplace to do the shoot. Mike Matarazzo was in the shoot too, and it was fun. Obviously I never met Joe Weider, so he was really nice, grandfatherly like type figure.
Right.
And he bought us lunch, and he bought us lunch, and he was telling us what he liked to say ditties, like little ditties, like stories.
Oh yeah.
What do you want to see?
What does he mean by that?
It's a
It
ditty.
just come out of these little weird stories, like people say ditties or like what would you call a ditty?
Jack,
Just like a
Jack and Diane. There's Jack at the beginning of Jack and Diane. Little ditty about Jack and Diane.
Right,
Ditty,
right.
like
Yeah.
a little story kind of thing.
All
Oh
right.
yeah, gotcha.
So you'd be
and
like,
they're just like, and they were so
Dirty.
like, yeah, they're like so like you'd say it and you look at each other and go, what the fuck was that about? It's like it didn't make sense. He could just be talking about, oh, did I tell you about when I was reversing my car, and as I was reversing my car, this woman walked past walking a dog, and then a bird flew by. How's your steak? Is it good? Is it good? I'm like, what does that mean? Do I have to go after the scythe or what the fuck that meant? It's like,
definitely a docile grandfatherly type. You know?
yeah.
And
But,
that was in
you know,
'93, well before you got old, you know.
Oh, yeah,
And
actually, that was 93. Yeah, it was 93.
I took Mike up to the Weeder office there, up to the Holy Grail.
That was
Woodland
gorgeous,
Hill.
that office, right?
Like a freaking museum. Yeah.
I know, I loved
Yeah.
it.
Big pillars and statues and warrior stuff. And
All those artwork, the big oil paintings of the Mr. Olympias that were like 10 foot tall or 12 foot tall. on the
Wow.
wall.
That office was gorgeous. It's a shame that thing is not around anymore.
I wonder what ever happened to those paintings there, because they had like Arnold, Larry Scott, like
I know.
It's like
they
a
were probably
museum.
like 4 foot wide, 12 foot tall, gold frames, like proper oil, like portraits, paintings everywhere.
Like
of
the
them.
ones-
I wonder whatever.
Like the ones that are in Gold's Venice?
No,
Like that
these
size?
are
No,
these were paintings.
these were like actual. These
Oh,
were paintings, like portraits.
Wow.
And I mean, they had to be. at
That's
least 12.
amazing.
They were
It's
like
like-
bigger than lifestyle, massive.
Wow.
another funny story is in 2000, like a week before the Night of Champions, Chris Lund wanted to do a photo shoot with Lee, so we went to I think Pasadena, and Chris Lund was working this motherfucker.
Well, Chris wants you to do real weights. That's the
Yeah,
problem.
I'm doing the 160s on the incline. He's like, hold it.
You're lucky to get hurt.
Hold it halfway down. And 500-pound squats a week before the show.
Oh, well, remember what happened
Oh
to
my
Jean-Pierre
God,
Fuchs?
you're lucky.
Fuchs
And
tore
that's
his
the same
quads
thing
from
too,
doing that.
because you'd have no shirt on, it'd be covered in oil. I look at Mike and go, this guy's fucking nuts. So
Yeah.
I do it. You go to squat. He's like, okay, Lee, come halfway. Okay, now just up an inch. Now down it. Now up an inch. I'm like, you know how hard it is just to move an inch or two with 500 pounds?
Right.
Now come a little bit more. Hold it there. Now can you go back down just a little? I said, listen. I said, I'm going to do the rep as slow as I can. You just fucking photograph.
Chris didn't even work out, so he doesn't know how hard it is.
When I did the 96 Nationals, they Flex shot me. It was the only time, and Chris shot me, and he's like, look, he goes, I want you to do the 200-pound dumbbell presses. I said, I don't do that normally. I just competed yesterday. I said, I'm not tearing my pec. He's like, just hold them up there. I said, I don't do them normally. I said, I don't do that much weight. I said, I have a problem balancing them. He's like, Jay Cutler did it. I said, Jay's an idiot. I said, if he did that with you. I said, I'm not. So I wrote it. There's a picture of me rowing the 200 pound. But yeah, he would try to push you to do crazy shit, you know.
Yeah.
Mike was there. Mike was there when Joe Gold made me those 200-pound dumbbells and the steel ones. And actually, the video just popped up yesterday. Someone shared it where I'm out the back on the World Gym balcony. We're doing arms together, and like Kathy's in the background doing biceps out there when it moved to Marina Del Rey, the World Gym there. And then Mike, you see Mike in the where I'm posing in the bathroom. That's Mike standing behind me there at the in the restroom. You can see he's got the jackets on. It's like in the background. Or when we pull up, there's a couple of videos we pull up when I had the convertible BMW, and then another time I think we had the Ford Saline convertible, and then the Hummer.
The Hummer.
Lee had some of the nicest cars. I'll give you that. That's for sure.
Actually, no, here's a story too. Lonnie Tepper verified it that one day for money, we were down on our luck. This is down on our luck again. Not down on our luck. We just need a bit of extra income. Mike and I did the best detailing.
It's just that you like to do that. It's nothing to do with income or anything. It's just like this
I'm a clean freak.
Motherfucker ever. He like there's a spot on the floor where. Oh, okay, let's get that. Like he couldn't go to sleep unless that was cleaned up.
So
But we
what?
detailed. Mike and I detailed Lonnie Tepper's Lexus.
Oh,
out
you
the
did?
back of my place.
Yeah.
Oh, he still talks about it. He said the best car cleaning job he ever
What
had.
did he pay you for that?
Well,
That wasn't much, was it? I don't
Well,
think it was much.
How much?
Took us to that place, Tooheys, I think, for
Yeah,
breakfast.
Tooheys. Yeah, Tooheys was a restaurant out near Pasadena, near where he lived, and they had the best like cream pies and stuff. And that, yes, I think he showered us lunch. We work for food, Dave.
Oh, you did, yeah.
Lee, are you a little OCDC?
Oh, he is,
A little.
absolutely, yeah.
Oh my
Big, big time, yeah. A little.
Yes, everything. Oh my, spotless.
Mike would deliberately put the remote controls crooked just to see how long it would take. Like the coffee table's here. I had the remotes lined up, and it would just twist it that way a little bit, just the remote. I'd look at it and go,
That's funny. See you go crazy. That's too funny.
Was he driving you nuts, Mike?
No, his place. Shit.
Now, why did you leave the living with him?
Well, I went back.
I think I moved up. Didn't I move up north, up near Palmdale, didn't I, with Kathy up?
Yeah, and then he was they just got married and stuff, and it was, I don't want to be like
Third wheel.
Mike said this bed ain't big enough for three of us anymore. I guess I'll have to.
Is that when you came back to New York, Mike?
I can't. That's when I came back in 2000. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was picking up Mike at the train station, right?
That was 93. You were driving me home.
At 93?
Yeah,
Oh.
94. 94.
Wow.
We trained at. Me and you trained at Belmore Golds.
Delma Golds for a couple of weeks, yeah, together. Yeah.
That's after you did the juniors.
Mike's a slut. He's been with everyone now.
I'll tell you
thought
one
I
thing.
was
Mike was
special.
fucking strong as an ox.
Uh-huh.
Very, very strong. Very deceptively strong, too. I'm like, holy shit, this guy is fucking strong. And I was strong.
I'm
back then, too.
not sure if Mike remembers the story. Remember that guy came to Golds, and you and I was squatting on the Smith machine. We're going heavy, and he actually got stuck under the weight. Remember, he came into Golds and he said he wanted to be a bodybuilder, and he wanted to go meet Joe Weider and that. And Mike and I was squatting. I think about the 5 or 6 plates. And we said to this young kid, "What do you want to do?" He goes, "I'll do the same." We just looked at each other and went, "Okay," and boom, down he went. And Mike and I just walked away and left him.
Oh,
Hey.
Did he ever Did you ever see him get out?
Did he get hurt?
Yeah,
He had to stop us there. It sort of stopped it. He was pinned under it, then he just sort of went out like that because he had to stop a bit. But, well, he said he could do it, and Mike and I are like, but it's like a normal kid. He's like, I'm going to be a pro. I'm going to see Weider. So at this point, Mike and I just knew. We knew he was nuts.
His name?
He's talking like Nick Walker, but looking like JJ Walker.
Yeah.
Jimmy from Good Times.
That kid went on to become Jay Cutler. Yeah.
Exactly. So with Jay, it's funny. I stayed at when I first went out there. I stayed at Ed Connors' place for 6 weeks on the beach, and then right when I left, Jay moved in there for a while because he just won the T Nationals.
Oh, okay.
I remember the bike. Lee, remember the 10 speed that Ed had?
Yeah.
I was using that 10 speed. You know, he would let us use the 10 speed to do whatever we had to do, the visitors.
Right.
And then I got an apartment with remember Cindy Lee.
Yeah.
And then so Jay got the bike stolen.
Oh, no way, really?
So I actually trained with Jay. It's probably before I was friends with Lee. I trained with Jay for like a few times. He was big, but you could tell he was a kid, but he was a big dude. You know.
That's funny.
I met Jay after that, after he turned pro, after he did the Nationals.
96,
yeah. And I helped him for the first Arnold Classic that he did.
I think Mike even said he remembered a shit story for some reason.
What story?
What's the shit? Oh, we got to hear the shit story.
Tell this one.
I don't know.
What did Lee shit on?
I remember the girl that started with A in the shit when I told that one where she had the enema and I couldn't wait. So I just started doing her in the shower and shit was going everywhere because of the enema.
I've heard this story. I've heard that story.
I think it was another story. It was another same person, but another story.
Tell us. I can't remember.
Tell the story, Mike.
Something about something going on someone's chest.
Mike, tell the story. Don't leave the details out. We want to hear every gruesome detail.
All right, let's hear it.
This is
Bring
the
out the juicy
crescendo.
details.
We are ending the show on a shitty note, like we always do.
I remember, like, he like telling me she pooped on his chest or something like that.
Yeah, I think
Who
so.
pooped on his chest?
Some girl, I'm
The
not
girl.
kidding. That probably wouldn't be good. But
Fetish or for money?
Lee, who pooped
Fetish.
on your
There's a
chest?
fetish.
I think it was the one that started with A. Me.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
She used to do security for Arnold.
Lee, I remember you saying this story. I've heard you say this before.
Yeah, I think he's
Oh,
told
but you
the
have to
story.
remember back then. Back then, I was very inquisitive, and Mike would probably remember that.
back then,
Sometimes back then, I never went to sex stores. I never went to sex stores to buy dildos and stuff. I was like MacGyver. I used what I had at home. So like, the
Squash,
TV
cucumber.
remote, I'm
TV
like,
remote.
that could go there. I had like these samurai swords I got for guest posing in Japan. So it became a running joke when people come to my place. Whatever they picked up, they'd go, "This? Have you used this?" It's like the spatula, the handle of the spatula. Yeah, I've used that. Yeah, it's like it's like it became
You
a
put
running
a condom
joke
on
about
it, right? You put a condom on it.
Just
No.
the worst time I ever had though.
You're
The
talking
time I
about
got
the
my
guy who
heart
tied his
racing
penis
was-
to a coffee table the first time he did cocaine. All right?
Yeah, and
I
I was
just told that
stroking it
story.
like I was like one of those barbers sharpening his blade. That's how I was stroking it like that. But the thing, here's one. The only time I freaked out though, Dave, was, and Mike, I think Mike might know, but was when we're in the bathroom, we're having sex, and it's turning this way. I said, "Get up on the counter," and I look over and I see the little Rexona. Like, oh, hold on, I can put that in there too. So I put it in. Just a little baby one, the travel size one, and it went in, but it went sideways.
Oh, no.
Now,
Oh.
you talk about trying to fish for fucking bobbing for apples. I got fingers in there. I'm trying to fucking get this thing. She's like, I got to go. I might have to go to the hospital. I said, we are not going to the fucking hospital. Just relax. Relax the pussy. And I'm trying to fucking get it out. I'm twisting it this way. I finally got it out. But then another thing I remember now, it's all coming back to me. I used to get M&Ms. I used to say, I wonder if they do melt. So I'd get M&Ms.
No.
I'd put the M&Ms in there, but the thing is, you got to remember, I'd count 25, so I'd make sure I got 25 back out if I had, you could just have a stand up and hit it in the back of the head, and they'd come out the bottom like a fucking Pez dispenser.
no brown ones, right?
No, just the green.
Unbelievable.
So there's still some color left. They do
Now,
help it a little bit.
the silly thing was, though, there were a few yellow ones, but I don't think M&M had yellow at the time, so it could have been corn.
Oh, no.
Okay. I have not heard the story about the dick tied to the coffee table. So before we end this, I've got to hear
He's
that.
told that quite a bit.
Oh, this was one of my cocaine experiences where I was just bored. I think, what, I'm going to try this shit and see what it's like. So I did a few lines. I'm like, I don't really feel. I do a few more. All of a sudden, it hit. And I'm going to put porn on. So I put porn on. I'm watching the porn. I'm getting into it. I think I'm going to take my pants. I flip the pants. I've got the porn. I feel like playing with myself. So I got the lube and I'm sitting there now naked on the lounge room floor. The more coke you do, you start going down a bit.
Yeah.
Fuck, I'm going soft. And now I've got the cat looking at me, but cat's giving me a complex. I'm like, what? Fucking, so I'm watching the TV again. And as I'm sitting there and my cock's gone down, I look at my shoes. I'm like, wait a minute, I'll take a shoelace off. So I got the shoelace, I took it off. I tied the one end around the end of my knob, and then I sat back and stretched it out and tied the other end around the coffee table. So now my cock's just stretched out.
Trying to make it like a stretched cock ring.
Yeah, so it's
Like,
got it stretched
yeah.
out to the coffee table, and I'm just stroking it like that. Like a barber has a leather strap in that's me. But then, as I'm doing that, and I lean over to do another line, I'm yelling at the TV, "You fucking whore, take it, you fucking whore!" And I'm stroking it. The heart rate's pounding. I think I just stopped all of a sudden. I went, "Fuck, wait!" I said, "Say if I fucking die." I said, "If I die, my mum's going to walk in, find me naked, my cock's tied to the coffee table, and I'm fucking sitting here." I said, imagine when she's out for lunch with her girlfriends and they say, "We're sorry to hear about your son. How did he go?" It's going to be a hard story to tell. It's going to be like, he died in his sleep. Oh, he was sitting there on the floor naked. His cock was just tied to a coffee table. I don't know what. There's cocaine there.
Not only was it tied to the coffee table, it was tied with his shoelace to the coffee table. Yeah.
Right. I mean, this is a classic. I think that's why they made Viagra.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I tried that once before too, and it worked for a bit. But then it'd be like, even if you had the coke and you're having sex, you're like, quick as hard, get on. And by the time you put it in, it's gone down again. It's gone down.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's probably not the
climax.
best sexual drug, for men.
It's like, yeah.
All right, well,
And then once you've done it too, it's like you want to come, and then I remember.
And then it's not happening.
No.
I saw the sun go down, and I'm still sitting there stroking it when the sun comes up. And I'm like,
If you get a one-track mind, but it doesn't work, nothing happening.
Still felt good, but nothing happened.
Yeah, not a good drug experience.
By the way, I want to make a commentary about, like, because I don't really get to have a platform to comment on how poorly I think bodybuilding is doing right now, like, just as a visual thing. Like, I see, like, pictures of, like, the 80s and 90s, and there's not comparison. Sorry to say. Sorry, everybody.
You're going to get haters. You're going to get haters. You are all going.
Yeah, they're gonna order 66 in now.
Like, you don't see, there's not one striation on anybody anywhere except.
No. Can I explain why?
Yeah.
Okay. The higher doses of growth hormone are causing cells to split and divide at a faster rate. It's happening so fast that the cell walls aren't really solidified. So you're not seeing like solid strands. And that's why people are more prone to get tears too, because the muscle's actually not as solidified. Remember, growth hormone creates new fibers.
Right.
So these guys are creating a lot of new fibers, and they're doing it way too fast. Here's a good example. If you see somebody's head growing, just imagine that their heart is growing and their lungs are growing and their organs, they're growing at like the head, actually more, because it takes a lot of growth hormone to make bones grow. It does not take a lot of growth hormone to make organs grow.
Isn't that funny? They look at some. I've always noticed that, and we've all noticed it, I think, too. You look at some of these newer bodybuilders, even from 6 years ago. Look at a photo of them, and their body's grown. But the most noticeable thing is their fucking head. Their head's just changed. Yeah. It's like, in our day, our head would change from me being contest shape to being 285, being fucking puffy. But it was just like water and fat. Now it's like the whole head shape's changing.
I always hit myself though, like if I had started bodybuilding now or had like, gone to the gym, I wouldn't have. I was attracted to those, Lee Haney and Barry DeMay and Gaspari and Labrada and all those people. Like, these guys are freaks. I mean, if you look at them now, you forget what they look like. Like,
we're at a stage
people
right now.
People don't know the history of bodybuilding anyway, Mike. That's pretty,
They don't, and unfortunately, we're at a stage right now where we still don't know what's going to be the detriment to all these new guys doing their new stuff. But we're seeing this year, a lot of people have died, so they may start to decide to change things back the way they were because what they're doing is not healthy.
Also, you look at the guys who were in the 80s. Tom Terwilliger, I used to train. He's the first guy.
Yeah.
This guy's 62 years old. He looks great. Have you seen Casey Kucharik lately?
No, I saw Franco Santoriello on Dave's show. He looks great.
I'm just saying, this guy is 62. These guys from the 80s and 90s, I mean, they look great. I mean, Gaspari looks all right. But
I think those guys are going to be healthy because the way that everybody cycled back then was logical, and Dave knows this too because this is the way we did it. You went on for the biggest show that you were going to do. You went on for a decent amount of time, and then afterward you went off. You went totally off.
I told people, I've said it, no one used, I know Lee didn't use GH really much, but most guys that were using GH didn't use more than 4 IUs a day. You just didn't do that.
That's right.
I mean, it just wasn't in the protocol. That's I don't know anyone who used more than that.
Plus, back in the day, Dave, people would take equipoise, say 3 shots a week.
Right, 50 milligrams.
But it was the 50 cc bottle.
Yeah.
It was the real Solvay or Squib. Big difference.
cc's a week for 900 milligrams.
And it doesn't, Mike. It doesn't make you look near as good as the real EQ.
You'll have a fucking blood clot in 2 seconds from that. So
let's real quick, because I know Dave wants to wrap this up.
Yeah.
Guys, I think the biggest difference in bodybuilding, and I think the reason why the Iranian guys are looking so good is the drugs. Everybody's using the UGL stuff. Everybody's making compounds and all that, while the Iranians have real pharmaceuticals. And you could see it.
Yeah.
Did you hear?
It's true, and you could see it in the quality, and you could see it in the dosages. They don't need to take as much. They don't get as many side effects. Their bodies look cleaner, harder, less inflammation and water.
Did you hear that story that Dennis James was telling about when Ramy went there and 5 years
The
ago.
oxygen.
Yeah,
Yeah, I heard the blood in the
him-
nose.
They made him freaking. They watched him while he took all the shots in the room. They made sure he took everything.
Oh yeah. Hey, listen. I mean, I'm good friends with somebody. I don't want to mention his name because it'll throw him under the bus. With someone who was friends with Regan, or is it Regan or Reagan?
Regan.
How do you say it? Regan. Sorry, Regan. And Regan told my friend why he was leaving, and it was for those reasons. They would just show up, give you shots. You don't know what you're taking.
Mike was living with me too. Mike can tell you, we used to laugh. This is when, remember, Hany Rambod used to train with Mike and I when Hany was a nobody, and Hany didn't believe in lots of cardio until he followed what I did and stuff. And now it seems like he gives all his clients pretty much what I used to do. But Mike was there when Hany wrote out my protocol, and after he left, Mike and I just looked at each other and went, I ain't fucking taking that much shit.
And we used to go. It was me, Lee, Hany, and like Lonnie would go hang out and like eat lunch and hang out, and we'd be busting on Hany like all day.
Oh, really? Oh, my God. If I hated
Yeah.
it.
After Abbas won the Cal, I helped Abbas. He beat Mike O'Hearn. It was at 99. Hany wanted to talk to me. And then we were at the Cheesecake Factory celebrating, and it wasn't the right time. That was the last time I ever saw him. He had hair. He had long hair.
Did he really? Wow.
Yeah,
Well,
he
Hany-
looked really
We
good. He
all
looked
had
like
hair
a
at one
model or
point,
something.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Hany was trying to teach me how to flex my back once in the house. Remember that? Mike is like, you got to flare your lats like this. And
I
Mike and I
know.
look at him like, where's his lats? What's he trying to fucking flex?
I really didn't have the foresight to realize that he was going to be a big guru at that point.
You know what?
But
I
all he
tell,
did was pretty much-
I tell people
but
this
did
all the
you
time.
notice-
If you put in
Yeah.
enough time and effort, and you really, really, put it upon yourself to learn how to do things the right way, and you completely immerse yourself in it, anyone can be an expert, really. And you know what?
Yeah.
That just goes to show you the work ethic that Hany had, because he didn't know anything when he first started, and he taught himself between the Chad. I know he worked for Chad a while. Just hanging
George,
around
you worked
the
with
gym,
George.
right?
You work with George too, I heard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's how it is. You learn from, and he probably learned from Lee.
Right.
You learn from every, and I know he learned from Abbas because Abbas talked to him and told him what we were doing.
Right.
So he pulls it all together, and then next thing you know, you get a thoroughbred. You get somebody like Phil Heath, and then you apply it to someone like that, and it's game over.
Yeah.
It'd be good.
I respect people who have a really strong work ethic like that, because you know what? People make fun of all these guys, but you know what? The guys that are successful, there's a reason they're successful, you know?
But Dave,
It'd be a good car salesman.
another story before. Remember Lou Zwick?
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, Lou used to call me. He used to call my brother all at 2 in the morning.
I never got a call from Zwick. I guess he didn't like me.
To call my house when I was living with my mother at 6 in the morning.
Big your arms.
And
Yeah.
he used to be like him and Lee used to correspond. I guess he tried to get Lee on the show and stuff.
On American Muscle.
One night we were hanging out. It was like me, Lee, Danny Hester, and Kurt. And we had Lou on the phone. Lee was asking Lou all the questions. He's like, Lou, what are you weighing?
I said, how big your
flipped it
arms?
on
Lou?
him.
I said, how big your arms? I'm like this and that. But then he got mad at me because I sort of made a rude comment to him. He never spoke to me after that.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I
The Zwicks made their money in toys. The family owned a toy company.
Oh, really? I didn't know
Yeah, and he has a brother. Whose brother was running it, but Lou decided to do this.
looking back now, it's insane. Like you think about, if someone did that now, it'd be like, this guy's out of his mind. Back then, give me the phone. I'm not talking to this guy.
Yeah.
Well, because you had to get on TV or the magazines. There was no other option. There was no social media, you know?
And you'd bullshit to him too. You'd be like, when he says, how big your arms? You'd be like 20 inches. Then he'd say, I want to see you. You're like, how the fuck am I going to get my arms 2 inches bigger in a month's time?
People like know what he's doing on the other end of the phone. It's like,
Oh, we knew.
There was
Hey, you know what, Mike?
then.
Everybody knows it. Everybody, you're not the only one, Mike, that says that. Dave, you know it too. What's he doing on the other end?
back then we're like, oh, this guy's, you know, whatever.
Yeah, but the question is, did he have a shoelace?
or better yet, Lee, what was he doing awake at late at night? Maybe he was on coke too.
All right, guys, I got to wrap this up. Mike Avalon, thank you for joining us today. I appreciate the stories. We got to get you back for some more Lee Priest stories because I think they're just starting to percolate out now.
Oh yeah, plenty more.
All right,
And
well,
Ameen, thank you for your reclassification of bodybuilders. I like it. I want to put it
Thank
forth.
you.
We need a lobby now to lobby for us to get this thing approved.
We'll make it happen. We'll
All
make
right.
it happen. Stop the discrimination.
all right.
Amen
Thanks.
to that. Dave Palumbo with Lee Priest. We'll see you next time.
Later.
Talk to you later.
Take care.